If Donald Trump set out to embarrass himself on the world stage today, he absolutely succeeded. From bizarre and inappropriate remarks about young women, AOC, and even Melania, to stumbling over his words and seeming to forget key details about his own presidency, the spectacle only grew stranger. He didn't stop there. At one point, he even appeared to doze off in front of global leaders while his own staff looked visibly tense and alarmed. What followed was one of the most uncomfortable and surreal series of moments we've seen in a long time. And it all began with an opening statement about young women that was so strange and unsettling, it set the tone for everything that came after.
But I was very proud of it. President Pena of Paraguay is here. President, thank you very much. Young, handsome guy. It's always nice to be young and handsome. Doesn't mean we have to like you. I don't like young, handsome men. Women, I like. Men, no, I don't have any interest. Good, that's right. Thank you very much. You're doing a great job, too.
Why would he even make a statement like that? It comes across as someone who either lacks self-control or simply doesn't recognize how inappropriate the moment is. Instead of understanding the seriousness of the setting, he makes comments about being fond of good-looking young women, as if it's all some kind of joke. There's a clear disconnect there, almost as though he doesn't fully grasp what's happening around him. And when J.D. Vance attempted to take a jab at AOC rather than staying focused, he jumped in to comment on her appearance, calling her beautiful. It only reinforced the sense that he was more interested in making awkward personal remarks than engaging in anything substantive.
All the respect for your country. We'll also want to express my gratitude to Vice President J.D. Vance, who is a fantastic man. He's a fantastic talent. He was a great student. They went to one school. He graduated. You know, most people, if you watch some of the people that were at the event in Munich, they didn't graduate quickly from college. They had everything they could do. There was one young, attractive woman. She was unable to answer questions. And she didn't do so well like J.D. did in college. J.D. graduated in a 4.5-year college in 2 years. And then he went to Yale and he graduated at the top of his class, went to the military grade. But when he went to Yale, there was one person that was marginally ahead of him, so he married her. Can you believe it? He married the person that was ahead. I don't know. I always like to say J.D. was first and Usha was second, because I get a little uncomfortable when I say the, but
It honestly felt like he was completely off balance, saying whatever came to mind without much filter or focus. The only time he seemed energized was when the topic turned to himself. You'd think that would be the one area where he'd sound confident and prepared, ready with a polished list of accomplishments. Instead, even that became chaotic. He tried to boast about stopping so many wars, pointing specifically to tensions between Armenia and Azerbaijan. But in the middle of congratulating himself, he appeared unable to clearly recall the very countries involved in the conflict he claimed credit for helping resolve. The result was a strange moment where he was bragging enthusiastically, yet struggling to articulate what he was actually talking about.
There's nothing less expensive than peace. You know, when you go to wars, it costs you 100 times what it costs to make peace. We have a man at the end right there that's smiling because you learned that after 30 years of fighting, right? 30 years of fighting, we got it done. I want to thank you very much. That was a great thing you did, you and your new friend. They came to my office and they said, I've been fighting for 22 years. Now you're there for 23 years, right? But I've been fighting for 22 years. That's all I've done is fight this gentleman. And his counterpart was there for 7 years. He said, I've been there for 7 years. All I've done is fight this gentleman. And we had it worked out in about 24 hours, right?
We love my friend. He's got such a great counterpart. We love counterparts. Everybody has counterparts, right? They're the best parts. That's essentially how it sounded. Vague, repetitive, and completely detached from specifics. He spoke as if he couldn't quite remember the names of the countries or leaders he was referring to, yet still wanted credit for brokering peace between them. It's hard to take claims of masterful diplomacy seriously when he struggles to recall basic details about the conflicts he says he helped resolve. The whole scene felt awkward. His own staff appeared visibly uneasy, and even Steve Witkoff seemed uncomfortable with the exaggerated praise being heaped onto him. And then, as if things weren't already strange enough, the remarks shifted toward Melania and attacks on the UN, making the moment even more uncomfortable. At its core, it felt like an attempt to prop himself up, to paint a picture of a strong, widely respected leader orchestrating peace across the globe. But that image becomes harder to sustain when public appearances are marked by rambling comments, confusion, and moments where he seems disengaged or sleepy in the middle of important events.
And the successful implementation of the second phase of the Gaza peace plan. This includes ensuring a lasting ceasefire.
Journalist Aaron Rupar shared this post of Donald Trump, a picture from Getty Images, writing, "Trump's face droops while his eyes are closed at today's Board of Peace meeting." Oh yes, the supposedly intimidating, all-powerful figure the world is meant to tremble before. The image they want us to accept is that global leaders quake at the thought of him walking into negotiations, only for him to look like he might take a power nap mid-meeting. Are we really expected to buy that? I don't, and I doubt you do either. They even played what felt like a full-blown propaganda video at the Peace Board meeting. Dramatic music swelling behind President Donald Trump, while a narrator praised his unmatched love of peace and historic accomplishments. It was over the top, almost surreal. World leaders sitting there watching a polished tribute reel, as if they were attending a campaign rally instead of a serious diplomatic gathering. The attempt to project strength just doesn't land. It feels forced, and you can see the discomfort on the faces around him, even among his own allies. When he started praising Steve Witkoff and claiming how much Ukrainians supposedly admire him, Witkoff's expression didn't exactly scream agreement. If anything, it looked awkward. The more they try to sell this image of commanding dominance, the more it starts to feel like damage control. And that's what makes it embarrassing.
Ukraine loves him. Europe loves him. Russia loves him. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. He goes to see President Putin. Didn't know Putin. I set him up a meeting to see. I said, "How's Steve doing?" "Sir, he's still inside." "Oh, that was an hour." I called back. "Tell Steve to call me when he's finished. I want to find out what the hell is going on. We want to end that war." "Sir, he's still inside." 3 hours, 4 hours. They were together for 4 hours, the first meeting. That's talent. And they get along. I mean, people like or don't like Putin or Zelensky. They get along. Same thing with Zelensky. I mean, they all love Steve, and Steve's doing a great job. That's a tough one. That's a much tougher one. I would have thought that some of the ones that we settled that are up here.
So now we're supposed to believe that Ukrainians love Steve Witkoff, the same figure critics say is overly accommodating toward Russia. That claim alone raises eyebrows. More than anything, this feels like Donald Trump trying to construct a legacy in real time. Slapping his name on peace boards, floating ideas like a Trump Peace Institute, promising grand arches or ballrooms that may never materialize. It all comes across as an attempt to cement his place in history through branding rather than substance. The irony is that names on buildings aren't permanent. They can be removed. Projects can be scrapped. Legacies aren't secured by plaques or architecture. They're shaped by performance and public memory. And if public appearances continue to be marked by verbal stumbles and visible struggles, that's what people are going to remember most.
A man that I really like a lot he's definitely tough. I don't want to fight him. President Prabowo of Indonesia, thank you very much. Please This is a big guy.
Is the name really that hard? Or was he just unprepared? The whole point of this so-called Board of Peace seems to be projecting strength and competence, painting Trump as a master diplomat. But that image falls apart when appearances are marked by confusion, slurred words, and a lack of basic details. It's difficult to sell the idea of world stage brilliance when he consistently seems unsure of what's going on. Instead of demonstrating leadership, the focus drifts back to grievances and awkward side remarks, which ultimately undercuts the strong, strategic image they're trying to create.
The Secretary General in a little while was a good man, and I've had a good relationship. Other than in my last speech, they did turn off my teleprompter. I got up there, my teleprompter didn't work. I'm sitting in front of all of you people and more. I had no teleprompter. I knew I was in trouble because I'm walking up. You know, the teleprompters are over here. I had the most beautiful speech ready. Yeah, I was all set to knock them dead. First, I had an escalator that stopped. You know that. It's going up. Boom. It's lucky my movie star first lady was in front of me because I put my hand on a certain part of her body and I was able to stop my fall. Otherwise, because she had no trouble, I said, boy, that was a very sharp stop, Johnny. So I said, that was strange. I've been on a lot of escalators. It's never happened before. Usually it stops very slowly. This was just boom. But our first lady was right in the proper location for me. I'm waving to people, and she was holding on a little tighter. She knew what was happening. She did. She said, that's a very successful.
I've seen the video. It shows Melania brushing his hand away while he grips the escalator rail, and somehow that became part of his closing remarks. After already making awkward comments about young women and AOC, he chose to add strange, unnecessary details to a story he didn't even seem to remember clearly. An odd way to wrap up something branded as a Board of Peace. It felt stranger than usual, uncomfortable and scattered. Whether it was exhaustion or something else, the moment didn't exactly project composure or control. We'll keep covering it all and calling it out here on the show. If you want to support that, hit subscribe, leave a like, and if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.